Hey viewers, you're watching the Savera and I'm Vidhi Joshi. The European Union has formally designated Iran's powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that is IRGC, as a terrorist organization, citing Tehran's violent crackdown on nationwide protest that erupted in recent weeks. Speaking in EU foreign policy, Chief Kaja Kallas described the decision as a decisive step, emphasizing that repression cannot go unanswered. She noted that the move places the IRGC on the same level as jihadist groups, such as Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Human rights organizations estimate that thousands of protesters were killed by Iranian security forces, including units linked to the IRGC during weeks of unrest in December and January. The protests were met with live ammunition, mass arrest, and an internet blackout, which has made independent verification of casualties difficult. Speaking alongside Kallas, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot called the crackdown the most violent repression in Iran's modern history, adding that there could be no impunity for the crimes committed. France had previously been reluctant to support blacklisting the IRGC, fearing that it could sever the last remaining diplomatic channels with Tehran. However, Paris shifted its stance this week, joining a push led by Italy to formally designate the force. Well, despite the move, Kallas stressed that diplomatic communication with Iran was expected to continue. Groups placed on the EU's terrorist list face sweeping sanctions, including asset freezes and travel bans aimed at dismantling their support networks. Iran reacted angrily to the EU's decision. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused Europe of hypocrisy and of stoking regional instability. In a strongly worded post on X, he claimed that while several nations were working to prevent an all-out war in the Middle East, none of them were European. Araghchi accused Europe of fanning the flames by designating Iran's national military force as a terrorist organization, while taking zero action over Israel's ongoing conflict in Gaza, and he described Europe as an actor in severe decline acting against its own interest, as the region edged closer to a wider conflict. Formed after Iran's 1979 revolution, the IRGC is the country's most powerful armed force, with an estimated 190,000 active personnel and capabilities across land, air, and sea. It oversees Iran's strategic weapons program and exerts influence abroad by supporting allied governments and armed groups. Domestically, it controls the Basij militia, which has been central to suppressing dissent. Alongside the IRGC designation, the EU imposed new sanctions on 6 entities and 15 individuals, including Interior Minister Eskandar Momeni, Prosecutor General Mohammad Mowahedi Azad, and Judge Imam Afshari, accusing them of involvement in violent repression and arbitrary arrest. Notably, the EU follows Australia, Canada, and the United States, all of which have already designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization, although the group has not been formally proscribed in the United Kingdom. But the EU's move comes amid escalating regional tensions, and US President Donald Trump recently warned that a massive armada was moving towards Iran and stated the time was running out for Tehran to negotiate a deal on its nuclear program. He threatened an attack far worse than previous US strikes if negotiations failed. Iranian officials responded defiantly. Araghchi said that Iran's armed forces were ready to respond immediately and powerfully to any aggression, while Army Chief Amir warned of a crushing response and announced the deployment of new drones. Araghchi is scheduled to visit Turkey, where Ankara has expressed readiness to facilitate dialogue in order to diffuse the rising tensions. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.